It's Monday, May 18, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. A 32-year-old St. Michael man reportedly committed suicide. Police say Matthew Rommel Alfonso Omar Reeves of Odessa McLean Road, St. Michael, was found hanging at his home by his mother. He was pronounced dead by a medical doctor. Investigations are continuing.
Police at District A received a call about 16:35 hours this evening. Responded to the report at Odessa McLean Drive, Mylars Hill, and as a result, on their arrival, they found Matthew Reeves hanging from a area in the shade at the back of the house.
In other news, Barbadians will be paying less for chicken starting this week. This evening, Agriculture Minister Indar Ware announced the move as part of his ministry's plans to assist poultry farmers who have been hard hit because of a drop in consumption triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have agreed that through the 2 months period that I've targeted, we would do a monitoring and evaluation process so that we would suspend the sale of chicken wings and turkey wings under an M&E, because I have to be also cognizant of the fact that it will take away cash from the BADMC, and that their cash flow position I will have to then pay weekly attention to. And under the COVID period, they would have lost sales through the airport store that they had. So it is impacting them as well. But given that BADMC is a state-owned enterprise, I've taken the decision to ask them to create enough space or some space that will help us to get rid of the excess capacity within the poultry industry. And this they will do, and we will monitor and evaluate as we go forward.
Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agriculture Society, James Paul, says it's a big plus for farmers and he's encouraging Barbadians to buy local.
Compromise that we have reached is useful because what we have at least committed to within the sector is, first of all, recognizing that, we have a responsibility to at least market what we produce. We have agreed to engage on a wholesale marketing campaign of local poultry, because traditionally what has happened is that we take for granted that Barbadians should buy local produce. We recognize that we cannot do that. And in relation to the chicken wings, we felt certainly that that particular commodity represented a challenge at this time in the market because it has diminished. And certainly I want to thank the Minister for the fact that he has recognized that he will give us additional market space, especially when we most need it. So in the industry, we have at least engaged in certain what we would call specials, which a lot of our members are going to drop their prices, in some cases significantly, but in an area where we have free market competition, some will of course drop more than others.
Prime Minister Mottley today raised her voice on the global stage to press for debt relief for CARICOM member states now under severe economic pressure as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. She was speaking at the 73rd World Health Assembly this morning.
Our small states have been suffering from high debt and low growth for decades. And we believe that there should also be more mature and relevant conversations for middle-income, small island developing states across the globe, especially as it relates to our debt obligations in the midst of this pandemic. Many countries will either have an orderly restructuring of debt or, at the very least, a debt moratorium that provides certainty for both the borrower and the lender. Or they will have a disorderly unraveling that will create a crisis both within the respective countries and within the global financial markets.
Prime Minister Mottley also reiterated her call for a global leadership initiative grounded in moral leadership that would overhaul existing global inequalities, including the use of historic per capita, to determine access to concessional or grant funds or fair access to the procurement of goods. She stressed this was beyond access.
None of these challenges are captured by per capita income or by maternal mortality rates. None of them. In addition, where there is global market failure, as is happening now, small middle-income states are at risk of not being seen or heard, or not even accessing critical goods and supplies. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Tedros for reaching out to the Executive Director of the Global Fund last evening to advocate for the countries in the region that have been excluded from procurement through the consortium of critical COVID-19 medical supplies. We need to be included. It is also therefore clear that we need therefore additional criteria to determine equitable access and fair allocation, criteria that better take into account that vulnerability which we have. And if we're asking for the same solution for climate, for external shocks, as we are asking for the pandemic, it is because all three destroy our capacity to produce as nations and the ability of our people to survive.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, June 5 is D-Day for voters in St. Kitts and Nevis. Today, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris declared the date, urging citizens to stick with Team Unity for a safe future.
For example, our health professionals have advised repeatedly that the nightly curfew and weekend lockdown remain in place to reduce the incidence of large social gatherings that are fertile ground for the transmission of the virus. As candidates and political parties campaign and bring their views to voters, therefore, some traditional means of communicating will inevitably have to be modified. Virtual public meetings will be one new and innovative way in which candidates will bring their messages to their supporters. The supervisor of elections will no doubt have more to say about the safety measures that will be in place for the general elections after consultations with our medical experts and other professionals.
Dr. Harris also noted that this election will be different in light of the COVID-19 outbreak, but he pledged it will be free and fair.
The introduction of the Poverty Alleviation Program has made a real difference to those on lower incomes, providing crucial assistance to them. We have delivered over 3,000 housing solutions, and we will not stop there, I can assure you. Our homes are also bigger and better than before. We also undertook the most significant public sector investment in our country's history. This includes the construction of the second cruise pier, the $69 million resurfacing of the Island Main Road, and the reconstruction of the Old Road Bay to alleviate the long-standing dangers that were posed to travelers, just to name a few projects.
U.S. President Donald Trump, in a surprise announcement, said on Monday he's taking a malaria drug as a preventative medicine against the coronavirus, despite medical warnings.
And a lot of good things have come out about the hydroxy. A lot of good things have come out. And you'd be surprised at how many people are taking it, especially the frontline workers, before you catch it. The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it. Hydroxychloroquine? I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine.
When?
Right now, yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I started taking it. Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories. And if it's not good, I'll tell you right, I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it. Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. Now, I hope to not be able to take it soon because, I hope they come up with some answer. But I think people should be allowed to. I got a letter from a doctor the other day from Westchester, New York, around the area. He didn't want anything. He just said, sir, I have hundreds of patients, and I give them hydroxychloroquine, I give them the Z-Pak, which is zithromycin, and I give them zinc. And out of the hundreds of patients, many hundreds, over 300 patients, I haven't lost one.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.